Let's get ready to rumble.
Yes, we're back. It's episode 145 of the Hibs Rumble. It's me, your host, as always, Liam, and I'm joined by one of the most gorgeous men that I can see at the moment on this screen, Shaun Corrigan. How are you, mate?
And I'm joined by one of the funniest men that I am currently laying my eyes on at this minute.
And it's you. Oh, mate.
I'm good.
You know what? I was actually going to introduce you as, but I was like, if I text you and ask you this, then you'd be like, what the fuck is he, like, what is he planning? So there was one time I was listening to Talk Sport, right? And I promise we'll talk about Hibs soon. But there was one time I was listening to Talk Sport, and I think it was maybe Gabby Agbonlahor that was on the show. But it was like when he'd first started, and they introduced him as like the Barclays Premier League September 2009 Player of the Month. So I was going to ask you who you played for when you were wee, and be like, oh, it's Musselburgh Windsor's 1995 squad, 2007 Player of the Year.
Well, I never played for Musselburgh Windsor, and I never won Player of the Year.
Alright, so it wouldn't have worked anyway.
I could have found you something though.
Yeah, you probably could have, but I mean, then it wouldn't have been funny. I wouldn't have got a genuine reaction out of you, like I just done there.
Maybe you could do it for Craig and his walking football for fat people.
If he's ever on the pod again.
Yeah.
Chances. For our video listeners, look, check the mullet out, by the way. I went to the barbers and asked for Jack Iredale, and they absolutely delivered.
And they give you a Megwa.
I took in a picture of Canaio Megwa and they gave me a Jack Iredale haircut. That was a joke, by the way. So how have you been, mate?
Good. Busy.
Not bad, eh?
Yeah.
It's a bit shite coming back on after we've got beat, and this is the second pod in a row.
Do you know what? I'm more looking forward to the quiz in this episode. I mean, I look forward to the quizzes most weeks rather than anything else, but I'm looking forward to this quiz rather than talking about anything else, if I'm being honest.
Do you think that I'm going to like it?
I think you're going to love it. I just don't know if you're going to get full marks. Do you know what? If anyone out there listening, and including yourself, does not get full marks, then I'm disappointed.
Right, so you're saying that you don't think I'll get full marks, but you're going to be disappointed if I don't get full marks.
That's exactly correct.
That is some standard to set, by the way. I'll take it, mate. I'll take it. I'll happily prove people wrong. Listen, I'm a big brain boy.
Big enough head.
And that's the. I don't know about that. It's not that big. That's a long and short of it, anyway. I suppose we're going to have to talk about the game. Thankfully, we've not got any late entrants into this podcast who's going to slag us about our team getting beat. It's just going to be us talking about Hibs getting beat at the weekend. But listen, we had Celtic at Easter Road on Sunday, 12 o'clock kickoff. Tough game as always, but Shaun, you probably look at it as a little bit tougher, considering it's never a great time to play them. But the fact that we needed a reaction after a real lacklustre performance on Tuesday night at Fir Park, Celtic was probably the last team that you would have wanted to come up against.
Yeah, agreed, especially after their European performance. I feel like prior to going into the Old Firm games this season, I've thought, we maybe stand a wee chance here. And then, lo and behold, we've not managed to pull anything out the bag for any of them, which is a shame because you would like to think, going by standards that we set ourselves, especially at Easter Road, that we should be putting in a stronger and better performance against the Old Firm sides, especially at home.
You would have thought so, and it's like, because obviously recently I know we got beat off Rangers at home, and it kind of ended that nearly calendar year period of us not being beaten at Easter Road domestically. It's just disappointing, I think, to then go away, lose to Motherwell, and lose at home to Celtic. It is disappointing, but listen, we've probably all seen it coming. So Gray went with Salinger, Nicky Cadden, Iredale, O'Hara, Chris Cadden, Abita Campbell. No, he didn't. I'm reading this out. I've fucked it here. Right, starting lineups. Google included the subs, like. So it started with Salinger, O'Hara, Bushiri, Obita, Chris Cadden, Mulligan, Chewa, Nicky Cadden, McGrath, Boyle, Bowie. Were you happy with that lineup? I think I got it right that time.
I'm not happy with your level of performance so far. You messed up the intro and you can't read a starting 11.
Mate, I'm not being funny. It's honestly, my head's scrambled, eh?
I'm actually not. I wasn't happy with that lineup. To be fair, especially after like the previous game as well. I really thought that Cleegee would have been in from the start. He must be sitting on that bench.
Well, he wasn't even on the bench.
What? Oh yeah, he was injured. Like he must be wondering what he needs to do. Obviously, like you said, he was injured, but I find it really strange that, especially in previous weeks, he's not been getting a look in. Obviously, Ellie Yuan came on as well. It just seems that I've alluded to it quite a few times actually about David Gray having like a core set of players that he seems to rely on, and no one, and that seems to include Bowie and Boyle. I know a lot of people don't like the way Ellie Yuan conducts himself, but I think the way that he can perform, I would have liked, obviously with Chaiwa not being in the squad and being injured.
Cleegee.
I said Chaiwa there, didn't I? I've just blamed you for your performance.
I know.
And I've just.
I came what? I think I've set the tone. I've set the tone early doors here.
What I'm trying to say is that, considering the level of performance that we had against Motherwell, I was surprised there wasn't more changes. Ellie Yuan's a bit of a maverick who can produce something out of nothing, and Bowie and Boyle in most weeks recently just haven't been at it at all, a bit like how we are tonight. I understood the Chaiwa change for Barlacher.
Yeah.
I felt that was the right one to go with as well. And from a fullback perspective, I thought that was the right thing to do as well. I just thought, because of how poor we were going forward against Motherwell, I thought he maybe would have tried to change it up a wee bit, and maybe that's why he brought Chaiwa in as well. I mean, we couldn't have been any worse defensively, to be fair, and we had next to 0 touches on the ball, so surely we were going to improve there. But I don't know. Listen, I know 12 months ago we were probably sitting bottom of the league, but that's obviously not Hibs standard. I think I would have wanted more changes, and I would have wanted a wee bit more out of that starting 11, especially considering the way we started the game as well.
I'm going to talk back and mention what you said about Cleegee there before we actually talk about the game itself. I've got this kind of theory in my head that David Gray knows who he likes to pick, right? And I think when Cleegee gets his chance, he's judging him on one game, and if he doesn't perform for that one game, he's out. And I think it's just testament to where the squad is at the moment. It's not just Cleegee, it's Chaiwa as well. Jordan Abita is the same. Dylan Levitt at the start of the season was brilliant, and now he can't get anywhere near the team. And he even looked back to last season where he was starting Josh Campbell all the time, and then Josh Campbell found himself with a prolonged period out of the team, same with Martin Boyle. So I think the way that Gray, I mean, his man management skills must be good, because it doesn't seem like there's an awful lot of unhappy players in that squad. I just feel like when players are getting their chance, they're not always getting enough time to prove themselves, especially for players like Cleege. I know Chaiwa started really, really well and kind of had us all in a chokehold in terms of, we thought he was, and still think he is a really good player. But Cleege took a little bit longer to kind of warm up. And I do think that the way that he was used has helped and hindered him at the same time, because he's been allowed to settle in, but when he has had his chance, he's been taken straight back out again. And it might be due to injury, it might be due to a many number of things that we're not privy to, but I just feel like sometimes the players who are coming in are starting off on a hide into nothing. But then again, you look at like your Dan Barlassers and your Jack Iredales, who have basically never been out the starting lineup since they joined the club. So it swings and roundabouts, but like I'm sure you can understand what I mean. Like when I'm talking about your Cleeges, your Chaiwas.
I think you make a really, really good point where it's like David Gray will, pin his hat on Boyle. Like if we just use
I think he likes to lean on who he can trust.
Yeah, he knows what they're going to give, and he obviously feels that even when they're not on it, they can produce something out of nothing a wee bit more than Cleege or Yuan or somebody like that, where, like you said, he's then judging them on the small time or small minutes that he has given them, and maybe doesn't trust them anywhere near as much. And then again, it's a difficulty as a manager where you obviously want to try and trust those types of players to produce moments more often, and you also don't want to risk trying to give them that opportunity, and then, like you said, it hinders them because they aren't performing as well. So a lot of that comes down to obviously the players' performance, but a lot of it comes down to the management of David Gray as well. And like you said, you listed a good couple of players there, and I think it is a very accurate point. And we as supporters probably know that as well. We know that if you keep Boyle on, he might get that chance in behind, or he might be able to win us a penalty, or Bowie can obviously, like that European performance at home, like he could just turn into fucking prime Adriano. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we don't quite know that with other individuals in the team. It's the same with like Nicky Cadden. Do you know what I mean? We know what he can provide. So it's like, do we want to give him that opportunity knowing that he can deliver a free kick or a set piece or a ball out, but then do we want to risk it defensively? Would we rather maybe shore it up with Jordan Abita? And that's obviously the decisions that David Gray has to kind of weigh up each match.
I think if you're Dave Gray, you're maybe sitting there on the sideline thinking it's a bit of a lose-lose situation. Sometimes, like how you said there, you've got Martin Boyle, who's historically been a real good goal scorer for Hibs, gets us into really dangerous positions, and if you take him off, he can't do that for the bench. But if you keep him on when he's not playing well, then you're stopping someone else coming on from making an impact. And I think it boils down to the level of trust again. And I think it's probably something that Dave Gray will learn to develop, because he's obviously still a very, very young manager. It's his second full season as a proper first team manager. So I think, and as he kind of develops and moves from club to club, that sort of trust element, I think, and he played with a lot of these players as well, mate. You need to remember, and I think that again will make a massive subconscious impact to his reasoning behind who he picks. And I'm not envious of his position, to be honest with you.
But you could use that. Use that exact example with like Josh Campbell, for example. I could be wrong, and you probably will correct me if I'm wrong. Other than the derby, I can't remember many games this season that he has started.
He started once, and it was a derby.
It was a derby, but I also wasn't surprised to see him in the starting 11 for the derby, because that's the type of game where you probably want a player like Josh Campbell, who's leggy and can get about the pitch, and especially at Tynecastle.
Yeah,
So I'm not surprised that that's the only the only time he started this season. Whereas he's probably not really suited to many other games that we've had. He's obviously been coming on when we've needed legs in like the European
yeah,
games and in other games. So he obviously knows what individually players' strengths are, and like you said, that will grow the longer he's in role and the longer we have players. It's just like you said, you don't want it to come to the detriment of them. And at the moment, it looks like he's got a relatively happy squad.
yeah.
But that will only continue if we continue to get good results, which we obviously haven't done in the last couple of games.
And listen, I think we're far from panic stations, though. Like this is like we've got to look at this, and you do have to compare it to where we were last year at this point. Obviously, this time last year we were about to go
Do
on
you though?
one of the.
Do you really?
I think you do. I think you do because it's fundamentally the same group of players. It's the same manager.
Yeah, but my point to that is Hibs should never be in that type of position that we were in. So for me, that's an anomaly where we shouldn't be sitting bottom of the league. Our expectations are as an absolute bare minimum top six, and we should be challenging for Europe. And I don't think that's unrealistic to say that, considering where the squad and previous squads have done. So last year we would have then been comparing it to the year before that, and that was probably a more realistic expectation as to where our squad should be. So I understand the comparing it to like 12 months ago we were bottom, and obviously I alluded to that earlier on, but I don't think it's a fair comparison regardless of whether it's the same squad, because as a club we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to even be in that position. We should be comparing, right, okay, well, who's sitting sixth, who's sitting fifth, who's sitting fourth, and at the minute, who's sitting third or second, and that's what we should be comparing ourselves to, and that's what we should be aiming for.
I think the fact of the matter is that we were in that position, though, Shaun, and it is an easy comparison to make, of course, because you look at the players who got us out of that position are the same players who are in a real good spot to. We're not in a bad position. We're at the upper echelons of the league. I also think that if Hearts weren't where they were, and they were a few points closer to us, then the fallout and the reaction wouldn't be anywhere nearly as bad as it has been. To be honest, mate, I think we're still going to have a successful season. I'm not convinced we'll finish third, but I would take fourth at this point. And honestly, I believe in the manager. I believe in this group of players to kick us on, get a few good results in a row. Maybe not as many as 17, but I do think we'll have a positive middle part of the season, strengthen in January, and smash it towards the back end of the season.
Yeah, I'm not buying into the whole like criticism that David Gray seems to be getting, or we've spoke about it loads and loads and loads of times, that football fans are fickle and reactionary, and we include ourselves in that in certain situations and at times, whether it be to do with players or results or management. And like you said, we're not in a bad position, and we might even be in a better position come full-time results in the next 15-20 minutes, depending on how things sway. So the level of criticism for a club like Hibs is normal. I'm not surprised to see it. I just don't think it's warranted. Loads of people are saying, what does David Gray need to do to save his job, or what does he need to do to sort it out? Like, we have the evidence that you just alluded to in the last 12 months, that there's proof in the pudding that the current squad can perform at a higher level than they did.
Yeah.
If I use the Motherwell game, for example, that kind of game was a freak kind of game. We don't see performances like that all too often.
Yeah. Not from this group of players, anyway.
No.
Like I can't think of That's Falkirk Motherwell just finished now. I can't think of many times since David Gray's been in charge, but where we've seen such a lacklustre performance, and with all due respect to Motherwell, in a game that we really should be dominating, home or away.
That's what then frustrates me with the Celtic game at the weekend is with us being at home against an Old Firm side in a big game. I expected more of a reaction. I expected them to start better and stronger. Obviously, we got a wee bit better as the game went on, and especially in the second half. At times, we had Celtic pinned in, but I just expected more of a reaction because of the level of performance.
Yeah, and to be honest, I do think we did start brightly. The start that we made and the way that we were approaching the game, Shaun, it kind of reminded me a little bit of the way that Neil Lennon's Hibs teams used to face up to the Old Firm. I think we could see from the off that Celtic definitely looked like, and I know that we played midweek as well, but it certainly looked like a Celtic team who had played in a high-stakes European game midweek. They brought that kind of hangover sort of fatigue to Easter Road on Sunday, and I mean, historically, it's actually been a fairly favourable fixture towards Hibs when Celtic have been in Europe and then come into Easter Road. I think it was, I seen a stat, I can't remember for the exact number, but it's maybe happened like 10 times or something in the last 20 years, and they've only won.
Yeah,
they only did before Sunday. They only won one. I think it stretched back to Martin O'Neill's first spell in charge of Celtic. So, it's a real good. It was a real good sort of record, if you like. I mean, it's a pretty poor record to be like, oh yeah, every time Celtic go away in Europe and then come to Easter Road, they never win. But it's a little bit of a weird thing to kind of boast about. But I mean, the proof's in the pudding when it comes to stuff like that. The European hangover is a real thing. I mean, a lot of people have kind of said that it's not over the last few years when Celtic and Rangers have become a lot stronger domestically, but you can clearly see that it is, because they did look fatigued. They did look a little bit off it, and I think partly that was down to how we approached the game as well, because we were right on top of them for minute one, and we were forcing them into a lot of needless errors at the back, lack passes from Celtic, from the goalkeeper, from the defenders. They were lunging into rash challenges, and I feel like for the first maybe 10, 15, certainly up until they scored, we kind of had them on the ropes a little bit, but without really doing anything to harm them apart from that Boyle chance.
Yeah, which then makes it even more frustrating that frustrating that all the things that you just listed was exactly what we done for their goals. Especially with Salinger being so strong, especially with the ball at his feet. It's frustrating that when we want to try and perform to a level, something like that unfortunately happens. Listen, I still trust him, and I still think he's very good with his feet. Whether it's a lapse in judgment or miscommunication or a lack of understanding, because I think it was at Chaiwa that he played the ball into.
Yeah, I think that the blame's kind of got to be shared there a little bit. Because, I mean, Chaiwa slips as well. If Chaiwa doesn't slip, he probably gets there nae bother.
Another individual error, technically, which is what seems to be the killer for us.
Yeah, I mean, once that happens, I mean, you can see what Salinger's trying to do. It's obviously what he's being coached to do. Get the ball moving, get it done quickly, get it to someone who can turn and play the ball forward. And to be fair, you've got to respect him for that. Yeah, it's a slack pass, and I mean, if he's any other player on the pitch, apart from the goalkeeper, and he makes a mistake like that, 9 times out of 10, Shaun, it's not going to lead to a goal. But you know as well as I do that if you're a goalkeeper and you make a mistake like that, then it probably will lead to the opposition scoring. And I think once, I can't remember who it was that latched onto the ball, once they did, and you know, it's curtains really for Hibs, because it's just a square ball to Maida, and he does what he does best against Hibs, and I think that's his 8th goal against us since he joined Celtic. So I will be absolutely delighted to see the back of him when he leaves. But I think the most important thing after conceding that goal, Shaun, is listen, you've started well. We were probably the better team at the time. Limited Celtic to very little, apart from obviously they'd scored the offside goal, but limited them to very little apart from that. Keep it tight, keep it nice and organised, kind of regroup for the next 5-10, and then go again in terms of the pressing. And when it rains, it pours for Hibs, because they ran right back up the park and scored again. This one a little bit more well worked from Celtic. A nice run down the left, and it's a good ball in, and it's a good header from Arne Engels, despite Jamie McGrath trying to take his head off with his foot. But I mean, it goes 2-0, and you're thinking, Jesus fucking Christ, this could be in here. Eh?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Which is frustrating, considering obviously how we wanted to start the match, and then obviously we would then find ourselves 2-0 down very, very quickly. I did wonder if David Gray was going to make any changes straight after that to try and get us back in the game, or if he was going to try and ride it out and see if the players that got themselves in that mess could have maybe got us out of it. But we definitely needed a stronger performance after that. What I was at that point is a little bit hopeful that as the game went on, and the more kind of fatigued some of the Celtic players might have got. I know you can now make 5 subs, so for a team like Celtic and Rangers, what difference does that really make, considering the level of quality they've got? But I was hoping that because of although it was a very, very good result for them midweek, I was hoping that although they were 2-0 up, if we could maybe try and nick one early enough, we could then maybe try and cause them a little bit more of a threat, especially in the second half towards the end of the match, which, in fairness, is exactly what we've done in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of trundled on towards half time, and I think the main thing, I mean, and David Gray spoke about it in his interview with Adam as well after the game, that the most important thing was that we got to half time at 2-0. And I do feel that after the second goal went in, we were tight, and we were doing exactly what we probably should have done after they scored the first goal. And again, I think everything that we're describing, Shaun, you've said it like 5 times a day, that everything that we were doing was probably right. Apart from we couldn't find a way to put the ball in the back of the net more. Obviously, we trundled on towards half time, 2-0 at half time, and I do think we gave a half decent reaction. Start the second half, obviously get the penalty. Boyle scores it, but I think the big takeaway, Shaun, is that we puffed, but we just couldn't blow the house down second half. And probably you look at it, maybe one of those days, but in my opinion, regardless of who you're playing, if you have chances, you've got to take them, or you're not going to win the game. You could be playing Celtic, you could be playing Brora Rangers. You need to score while you're on top, and if you don't, then you're leaving yourself vulnerable. And I think that's what we did. Celtic, for me, were there for the taking on Sunday, and if we were a little bit more ruthless, a little bit more clinical, which again we've spoke about in heaps this season, then I think we probably would have walked away with at least a point. And it's disappointing to sit here and say that we played really well and we got nothing to show for it, but fact of the matter is, doesn't it really fucking matter how well you play if you're not putting the ball in the back of the net?
Correct. Which is why, because of the result of the weekend, it just heaps the pressure onto the game against Falkirk as well, who themselves are in a very, very good position as well. So yeah, we just need to prepare right for that and basically bounce back and get a victory, because it's going to be a tough game. Falkirk are obviously doing very, very well at the minute as well, so we'll need to see what that looks like. I will be intrigued to see if there's any changes to the squad as well.
Yes, and we will talk about the weekend's game, but breaking news here from the Sky Sports studio: Scottish Premiership final scores tonight, Wednesday the 3rd of December 2025. It's been a very exciting last few minutes in the Scottish Premiership, Shaun. It's finished at Pittodrie, Aberdeen 3, St Mirren 3, a 90 plus 9 equaliser from King. Who's King? Richard King, the centre half. Gives St Mirren a point. Fucking hell, that. So St Mirren went 1 up in the 55th.
Yep.
Aberdeen equalised after 71.
Yep.
Then went ahead on 73. St Mirren equalised again on 82.
Yep.
Aberdeen went ahead on 85. And then St Mirren equalised on 99. Holy shit. What a game that must have been. Fucking hell, fair play. Celtic trundle over the line against Dundee 1-0 at Parkhead. Dyson Maeda in the first half. Dundee United 2, Rangers 2, another late equaliser.
98th minute penalty.
98th minute penalty. I mean, are you surprised? I'm not.
Nope.
Falkirk 0, Motherwell 0. The most boring game of the night. And the Hearts 1, Kilmarnock 1.
90th.
Another 90th minute equaliser again. So that brings Hearts and Celtic onto the same amount of points. Celtic with a game in hand, and obviously they play at Parkhead on Sunday. So
Jim
we
White
could.
did say it was a busy late finish in the SPFL Premiership.
That's incredible.
That's exactly what it was.
That's absolutely incredible. And then what are we doing? We're just sitting here. And Leeds are beating Chelsea 3-1.
Well, you now find in the top flight, you now find Hearts and Celtic on the same amount of points. Celtic with a game in hand. Motherwell Rangers, same amount of points. Rangers with a game in hand. And then you've then got us and Falkirk, same amount of points as well.
Yeah.
With Aberdeen and Dundee United behind us by
Mate, what
3 and 5, and they've both got a game in hand. So it's very, very tight in the SPFL.
This has been a crazy night of football. Villa won 4-3 at Brighton. Leeds are beating Chelsea 3-1, and Sunderland are 1-0 up at Anfield.
Most important result came at the Emirates, so
That's boring, though. Oh, boring Arsenal going to win the league. Boring. I kind of got sidetracked there thinking about all these mental results. But yeah, I think the main overriding feeling that I got from Sunday was just complete and utter frustration that we didn't do more. We weren't ruthless enough. We weren't clinical enough. And for me, that's been the story of Hibs' season so far. I don't know about yourselves, whoever's listening, but for me, I just feel like for all the good that we've done, and there has been a lot, there's just not been enough, if that makes sense. I think I'm maybe expecting too much. And maybe you can call me deluded, you can call me entitled, call me whatever you want, I don't really care. I expect Hibs to be in the top 3, top 4 of the SPL every season. And when we're not, that's a problem. So if come the end of the season we're in the top 4 and that's where we finish, great. And I'll maybe be made to eat my words, but I just don't think at this moment in time we're anywhere near as ruthless as we need to be to get to the point that we expect to be at.
I think just the league as a whole, especially at the minute, hopefully it isn't the same the more the season goes on, but at the minute every game seems like a tough game, and because of how tight I mentioned it with all the teams on the same points, obviously you don't go into games wanting to draw or even lose, but it just feels like every game every week at the minute is a must win for us, as it probably should be for a club like Hibs. But obviously after the Falkirk game we've then got 2 very, very tough away games as well, so we need to make sure that we are taking the points where we can, and we need to be maximising the most of our opportunity of playing at home, regardless of whether Falkirk have been really, really good this season or not, or they're just promoted or whatever. We still need to be aiming to take 3 points off of them to give us the best platform going into the game against Rangers at Ibrox, because I don't want to sit here and say oh, aye, it was 1-1, or we just narrowly lost at home to Falkirk. But the performance was really good. It was just an individual error here. I don't
This is it.
care.
This is it.
The players will go into that game at Ibrox in a much better place if we get the 3 points, no matter how we manage to do it.
Exactly. I mean, you can run the best race and you can have the best running technique, but if you finish second, then I mean, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? I was going to make a more crude reference there, but I decided not to.
Yeah. That's how Megan feels all the time for you.
We will talk about the Falkirk game in a little bit more detail, but Shaun, before we do, it's a return of Ramble quiz time. That was just for Dean Salim, who moaned on the Discord that I never put it in last week. Or the week before, the last time that we did a quiz.
So, the name of this quiz definitely needs work. But we won't dwell on the name of the quiz.
You can name it, and we'll get the Ramblers to rename it.
They can rename
We'll get the Ramblers to rebrand it.
100% they can rename it. The name of this quiz is Who Assisted That Goal?
I think we should give it a sponsor.
As in Ramble Quiz Time should have a sponsor. Brought to you
Yeah.
by Pepe's Chicken.
Brought to you by, something like that. I think we should go and look for a sponsor for Ramble Quiz Time.
Delighted.
Anyone owns a local business that wants airtime every other week when we remember to do a quiz, let us know. Get in touch.
Yeah, because it's the most upbeat part of every episode.
Who assisted that goal?
Or how may I assist you? Fuck, that's even worse. Right.
Yeah.
I have in front of me 7 iconic Hibernian goals. All you need to tell me is who assisted the goal. Now,
I think this is going to be harder than it sounds.
If you really have the time in the day and you're an absolute tryhard or you just love it, feel free, Liam, to put the commentary after your guess.
I'm absolutely not doing that. It's already 5-10.
Right. We'll get right into it. So there is 7. There's no reason behind it.
Okay.
This was just the first 7 that I thought of.
Okay.
The first goal I would like you to tell me. Scott Allen's goal against Hearts in the natural order match.
Oh. Paul Hanlon was up there, but I don't know if Paul Hanlon got the last touch or if it was Cam Berry. Because Hanlon hooked it over, didn't he? I'm going to say Hanlon. I think it might be Hanlon.
So the players that you mentioned are correct. Canberry flicks it on to Hanlon, and Hanlon flicks it on to Allen.
God.
And then Allen with the left-footed daisy cutter into the corner. Correct.
I was absolutely steaming that night.
1 for 1.
It was class.
Okay. Second goal. The goal that probably saved me getting my head kicked in. Stokes' first goal in the cup final. The story for that's for another day. Probably not on the podcast.
I want to hear this.
But who assisted Anthony Stokes' first goal on the 21st of May 2016?
It was McGinn or Cummins, wasn't it? I think it was maybe. McGinn wins the ball back in the middle of the park. I don't know if he passes it to Cummins.
Bearing down on goal.
Well, I think it's maybe Cummins that plays it through for him. But why would Cummins be down there and Stokes be both out on the left? You would have thought Cummins would maybe be more central. I'm going to say Jason Cummins.
And you'd be correct.
Yes! I want to hear the story about how you nearly got your head
That's
kicked in.
definitely not airable.
Well, you know what we'll do? We'll start a Patreon, and
Yeah.
we'll just have that one story. People can pay. We can charge people £50,
The
and
only
they can hear the story.
the only thing we
One time payment.
yeah, we'll do that. But we just need to make sure we don't get HMRC'd. Okay, number 3. Don't know what's more iconic, the goal or the commentary. So if you don't get this one, you're an absolute shambles. Twisting, turning. It is Russell Latipi's goal in the 6-2 game.
Mixu.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
See, when you said that, like when you first started talking about that, I was just going to go Pat Linen.
There you go. So next one. One of my favourite ever goals against Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Ross Caldwell to make it
Oh, I'm
2-1
flying here.
at Tiny.
And is this a technicality? Because I do think this came off James Fowler or Jamie Hamill, one of the two. James Fowler, did he ever play for Hearts? James Fowler. He's got Hearts written all over him there.
Kilmarnock, did he
That
not?
cunt. Aye.
Yeah. Well, when I was doing this, I obviously watched the goals back to make sure there's no ambiguity regarding who assisted it.
Yeah. Well, if you're not tricking me, then I think it was Lee Griffiths.
And you'd be wrong.
Aye.
You'd be wrong. Lee Griffiths closes it down in the corner. Is it Jamie Hamill goes to clear it? It hits off either him or Griffiths or whatever. Then it bounces back at the edge of the box, and then Scott Robertson has the ball. And then Scott Robertson gets wiped out as he plays it to Ross Caldwell. There's claims for a potential penalty, and Caldwell then bangs it in the top bag.
I thought that it went straight into the box for
From the
Griffiths
deflection.
closing it down.
That's exactly what I thought. And
And I was there as well.
I was definitely
I remember
there
this
as well.
goal.
Okay. One of my favourite ever goals against Rangers at Ibrox was Slivka's.
Mm-hmm.
Who assisted the goal?
Oh, I've seen this goal recently as well.
By the way, what a sweet strike.
Because it comes in for a throw-in, but I don't know. I don't know who plays it onto him. I know Slivka gets the final touch.
Oh, he definitely gets the final touch. Definitely gets the final touch.
Right. So as you're looking at the goal that he scores in, the throw-in comes in for the left. So you're imagining that it probably takes a touch off of somebody before it gets to Slivka, because he's in like the middle of the park, outside the box, when he hits it. And I think he hits it with his first or second touch. So he doesn't pick it up too far left or too far right or too far back. And going by logic, who should be in that position is probably John McGinn. But was he on the park at that time? I don't know. But I'm going to say John McGinn.
And you'd be wrong.
Ah, who is it?
Lewis Stevenson takes the throw and throws it directly to Slivka, and Slivka hits it first time for the edge of the box.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can see where I was going with my logic, though, right?
100% understand the logic, yeah. Because you wouldn't think Lewis Stevenson could throw the ball that far.
That must have been a fuckery of a throw-in. I watched this goal like 5 times recently as well, because I was doing the post before we were playing Rangers. It was like goals against Rangers.
You started
You'd have
so
thought
well.
I would have remembered that.
You got 3 for 3 and now you're 3 for 5.
Yeah, I'll bring it back again for the last 2, I think.
Okay. We had one cup final opener. Now I want the other cup final opener. Rob Jones's bullet header in the League Cup final against Kilmarnock.
Who takes the corner? Who took the corners? Ken, who's jumping out to me? But I can't even mind if he took the corners or no. But it's David Murphy, and I can't remember if the corner was an in-swinger or an out-swinger. I think the way that Rob Jones heads it, it would probably make sense for it to be an outswinger. In which case, the corner would need to be taken by a left footer, which David Murphy was. So I'll say David Murphy.
Correct.
I'm
Okay,
flying.
last one. We were 2-0 down at Tiny.
It's happening again.
Who assisted the first goal?
Liam Henderson.
I don't think I would. I actually don't think I know who assisted the second. I could hazard a guess.
McGinn took the corner. McGregor's header saved by the goalie, and then Hanlon
Yeah, I think so.
falls up.
Liam Henderson is correct. So you're 5 for
Yeah,
7.
I thought so.
5 for 7.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yep.
I will take it. I'm actually quite happy with that. To be fair, I think if I'd thought for a little bit longer about the Slivka one, probably would have got that. But I have no recollection of Scott Robertson being wiped out in the Hearts box before Ross Caldwell scored.
I've got a few more goals that I'm going to look up. So if the listeners want that kind of quiz again, then let us know. If you
I like
enjoyed
that one.
I said,
Ken, what you're getting really good at coming up with these quizzes, and it was the part of prepping that I absolutely hate
it's the only part of prepping
because
I enjoy.
Because it takes far too much time out of my day.
So I've got.
I like to just
I've
turn
got
up and
3.
talk shit.
I've got 3 goals already that I've got lined up.
Right.
So if the listeners don't send in recommendations, because that will give Liam the opportunity to search them.
Well, I mean, if you send in recommendations, just send them straight to Shaun.
Yeah,
Just DM him. And while you're there, DM him abuse as well.
fair enough.
Say nasty things to him. See if he buckles under the pressure.
Never.
Right. Will we chat a little bit about Falkirk
Kind of have.
before we answer the listener questions?
Kind of have already. Aye. What's the question saying?
Well, I just wanted to talk about Falkirk in a little bit more detail
Go for it.
before we go to questions.
You're the host.
I do think it's going to be a tough game. I do. Usually, I mean, when I was looking at the fixtures, I was like, fucking hell, Falkirk are coming up soon. There's a banker of 3 points at Easter Road, no problem. But after their result tonight, they've lost twice in their last 11. And that was to Hearts and Celtic. That stretches back to when they played us at Falkirk.
Aye, they're doing all right. Fair play to them. They're doing very well.
I mean, they're doing well. I think John McGlynn, what really annoys me, because he's such an ugly man, and obviously he's a Hearts bastard, but his adaptability into the modern game is something that, like, you can really admire. He's got them playing really, really well. Obviously, 2 back-to-back promotions. They're absolutely not a team to be sniffed at. I hate Falkirk, but you absolutely cannot underestimate them.
He just gives me the vibes of like Sam Allardyce at Bolton in the early 2000s, like adapting to modern football and just producing results after results.
Aye, he had Ivan Campo, though. Mind him, Ivan Campo, what a player.
Aye, but
What a haircut.
Falkirk have got Shaun Mackey and Liam Henderson.
It's true, Shaun Mackey does have great hair.
Fantastic here.
Probably not as technically good as Ivan Campo.
Maybe even better.
He had Gary Speed in that team, JJ Okocha. A lot of good players in that Bolton side,
Yeah,
Kevin Davis, mind him.
yeah, I do.
The striker.
Barclays, man.
Mate, see Kevin Davis? What a player. But what annoyed me about him was strikers should never be the captain. Sorry, Martin Boyle. Strikers should never be the captain of a team. And also, if you're a striker and the captain, your shirt can't be tucked in. I'm sorry.
Lawrence Shankland's captain as well.
That's what annoys me about Jean-Philippe Mateta.
Aye, that's just all.
I know he's not the captain.
That's all an act now. That's all an act.
I know he's not the captain, but his shirt tucked in long sleeves. Get a grip, son. Come on. Come on now.
Football pet
Stick to
peeves.
kicking the
What have you
corner
got,
flags, wee
Remy?
man. Eh?
Football pet peeves.
I've got so many of them, mate. We could go on, talk on for another hour about all the pet peeves that I've got in football. Do you think that we'll see any changes in the starting lineup?
No, I actually don't. In fact, no, I do. I do. I take that all back. I don't think Nicky Cadden will start. That's one of the changes. I think Barlasa will come back in as well. And
It's probably a game for Barlasser. I've seen a lot of chat about him recently about he's really good when he's got a lot of time on the ball, but when he's playing up against a team that presses him, he goes missing. But I think that is kind of comes with the territory of the kind of midfielder that he is.
yeah,
Someone who relishes a lot of time on the ball and being able to pull strings and make things work.
I think.
So when he is rushed into making decisions, that's not the kind of environment that he plays his best football in, which I think is fine because you can't expect all your players to adapt to every single environment every single time. We're Hibs, we're not Real Madrid, we're not Arsenal, we're not the best teams in the world who have the best players in the world who can do that. We've got to work with the tools at our disposal, and the tools at our disposal is a really good player when he's got time on the ball, when we're controlling the game and looking forward to the game. And on the flip side of that, Miguel Chewa and Josh Campbell, who relish in those hectic 100-mile-an-hour push in, knowing you're not going to see an awful lot of the ball, but being absolutely determined to get it. And I think that's absolutely fine, to be honest. And as long as David Gray realises that he can, and I think he probably does now, that he can rely on these other players in these games and Dan Barlasser in other games, he's probably going to start understanding that. I mean, it sounds stupid coming from me. I mean, I'm a fan. What the fuck do I know? But like, you know what I mean. Like, I think David Gray is starting to now realise that he's got these tools at his disposal. Doesn't have to pick the same team every single game. The old cliche goes, "Don't change a winning team," but I don't think that necessarily has to be correct. I think you need to decide your team based on the challenges that you're going to face in the game.
Yeah, and we also didn't win. So the last game.
Yeah, I mean, so the whole thing is redundant.
Exactly. Megwa might. Iredale might start as well. What I am intrigued to see is whether Dylan Levitt plays any minutes and Joe Newell, who obviously came back after about.
Oh, I completely forgot about that. It
years
was
out on
fantastic
injury.
to see him.
Yeah, it's just good to see handsome footballers with great heads of hair play for Hibernian Football Club. It's what we stand by.
Yeah,
Not performances, goals
absolutely
and
true.
points. It's all looks and
It's aesthetic, man.
yeah, that's what we are.
Aesthetic. We should probably go for that boy that plays by Napoli. He's a good-looking geezer.
Aye, the Scottish one.
Nah, I think he scored against Denmark or something.
Aye,
Daffy overhead kick.
I don't know if
Just a record-breaking overhead kick.
I think we might be priced out because he was Serie A Player of the Year, and I think he just won Serie A MVP as well for last year. So
And stop me if I'm wrong here, but I think he was nominated for the Ballon d'Or.
yeah, and it was a real shame that he didn't win it because Chaiwa did. But we've already got someone ahead of him.
In your mind. But not, brilliant to see Joe Newell back. Regardless of your thoughts on Joe Newell as a player, he's the club captain. He loves this club. And for someone who's been out injured for just shy of a calendar year, because I think his last game was Hearts on Boxing Day last year, right? So someone who's been out for that long, playing his first game of 2025, even just to come on for the amount of time that he did, is great. So fingers crossed that Joe Newell kind of stays injury free and we're able to utilise him a little bit more towards the back end of the season. But yeah, I think other than that, I've said all the cliches that I wanted to say. I've got everything off my chest. I feel a little bit better now, Sean. So we should maybe jump onto the listener questions and depress ourselves a little bit when everyone's saying, Hibs are shite, what's for dinner, ha ha ha. Right, let's have a look at the listener questions.
Now it's time to answer the Hibs Ramble listener questions.
Pizza. Chorizo and tikka chicken pizza.
Funnily enough, I had pizza as well.
And when this finishes, I'm going to divulge in a little bit of apple crumble.
Oh, I love apple crumble. You know what? And this is probably a boring story for anyone who's listening, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
I'm just going to clock out now as well then.
Yeah, that's fine. So when I was a wee guy,
crumble in the oven now while you're telling the story.
When I was a wee guy, right, I at my mum and dad's house, I planted an apple tree, or like an apple seed from an apple, obviously. I must have been about 4 or 5 year old or something. And for the last couple of years, because my mum and dad are still in that house, for the last couple of years, that tree has been growing apples, obviously, because it's an apple tree. But they've been picking the apples off, cooking them, and making it into homemade apple crumble. Which, might I add, is delicious. So there we go, there's my apple anecdote for you today. What's the difference between an apple and an orange? I'm not going to say the punchline to that one because I don't want our friends from Glasgow finding this podcast again and ripping us to shreds, because that really made me upset the last time they did that.
Yeah, you were close to crying about 12 times.
Multiple times, not as many as Craig, mind.
Yeah, I thought you were going to jack it in.
No, Craig was going to jack it in. Craig has jacked it in, basically.
Craig's never here.
He's never been the same since.
At least you grew a backbone and kept going, powering through.
Yeah. So obviously John McIntosh did ask what's for dinner before he was very rudely interrupted by Shaun telling him what he had for his dinner. Gav Dick says, can't really complain with the outcome today. Celtic were as poor as I've seen them, however they were better than us. Falkirk next week is a must win. We need to try and build up some sort of confidence as the team looks fragile. Thoughts on the cup tie, cracking away day. Completely forgot about the cup tie, to be honest. But see, I genuinely think that Gav has got a real good point there. Celtic were shit, but they were better than us. And the team probably does look a bit fragile at the moment.
Yeah, but any team that's lost 2 on the bounce is going to look a bit fragile. They're going to be a bit short in confidence in certain areas of the park as well, going forward and defensively. So, yeah, make some great points, though.
See, just a one-word answer from you, because I'm aware that I've said that I don't think so. But do you think we're in bother?
No.
Good. I'm glad.
And that answer remains the same for Hearts winning the league.
I mean, I believe that now. I believe that. Colin McLennan says, shot ourselves in the foot again today. Good to see Super Joe back. Why is our high press so inept compared to other teams? I thought the high press worked to an extent on Sunday, especially before they scored. But you can't always budget for a team like Celtic not being able to break you down in a high press. That's
very hard to maintain.
Of course, yeah, but that's the risk that you run if you're pressing high. And realistically, we're only going to be able to press high against Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, and maybe from time to time Aberdeen. All the other teams in the league are going to sit off us or press us high because we're going to dominate the ball. So I think that it's difficult to kind of switch to that high press when you're not doing it every week. And when you're playing a team with the quality of player that Celtic have, very difficult not to get caught. And I think it's just the lack of experience that the players have in terms of playing that way. I don't think it's because they can't do it. I think it's they're probably struggling to adapt to that because, you know, every other week we're playing and we've got, you know, 60% possession, 65% possession, and we're the ones that are knocking the ball about, anticipating a high press and trying to play through those lines. So, yeah, I think it's just the fact that we're not used to it. Yeah, brilliant to see Joe Newell back, and I forgot to answer the question that Gav said about Dunfermline away in the cup. I love that from the Scottish Cup, by the way. I love that.
Yeah, fantastic draw. Can't wait.
The Bridies, looking forward to that.
Just looking forward to the whole day. Love going to bars.
Ken, what would make it better? As if it was I actually said this in the chat before the draw was made. I went, Pars away on a Friday night.
Could be.
Please.
Could be.
I think it could be one of the ones for telly, you
It'll
know.
definitely be BBC TV.
Yeah. Well, it depends when they put the Celtic Auchinleck game on, eh?
The Hibs game will be Hibs.
Because
Will be on TV. Like,
I doubt Rangers will be on the telly because they're at Ibrox.
who else has rights for the Scottish Cup?
Is it not just BBC?
Is it?
Or the Premier Sports have rights as well?
Do they? Probably.
They might do. I'm not sure.
Hibs are
Yeah.
playing an Old Firm side, so it'll be on BBC.
Aye, Pars away is a fantastic draw. Don't really care if we win or get beat, to be honest with
Also,
you.
because we'll be up against Neil Lennon, that's another reason why it'll
Yeah, aye, that's right.
yeah, it'll definitely be on TV, and I think you could be onto something with a Friday night.
I wouldn't mind I do like a Friday night cup tie. Mind we got it in against Ayr last year.
I think Friday night cup ties or Sunday afternoon cup ties are the greatest.
I think any game on a Sunday is shit.
Nah, Sunday cup tie away 12:30.
Nah, because you get the Sunday scaries, man.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, I suppose not all of us have the same shift pattern as you do. Not all of us don't always work on a Monday.
Not all of us can enjoy our job.
I do enjoy my job.
Good.
Very much so. But I'm always working on a Monday morning.
You still got the scaries.
Yeah, mate, I've got the scaries every day of the week. I've got the Wednesday scaries right now. Right, let's fucking wrap this up, man. I'm going delirious. Spot says, really need to start taking... what? Really need to start talking about how Bowie can't keep starting.
I think loads of people have said that.
Again, I think this harks back to that conversation that we had about trust and that.
Yeah, I think it does. But I tell you what, Kieran Bowie will have more than enough motivation, considering Ballon d'Or nominee Scott McTominay is taking us to the World Cup with Super John McGinn, and he will. Do you know what's probably not worked in Kieran Bowie's favour is that Lauren Shanklin scored one of those goals, so he's going to have to work extra hard and score a shit ton more goals between now and the summer. So the motivation from Kieran Bowie will most certainly be there, as long as that doesn't have a detrimental impact on his performances for Hibs, i.e. him trying too hard or maybe being a bit greedy.
Jenky has been trying too hard.
I think so. And when you're a striker and you're out of form, I think that's only natural. But I think now with the whole opportunity to go to a World Cup, he'll then be doing that a wee bit more. As long as that doesn't take him away from playing his game, and it, like I said, it doesn't detriment the team, then hopefully he'll be okay. And obviously with my second favourite player of all time, Lyndon Dykes, joining in January, hopefully, that might give him more competition or it will give him extra competition to try and play better, especially for his direct spot, especially going into the World Cup.
Yeah. Who wins in a fight, Lyndon Dykes or Miguel Chaiwa?
Lyndon Dykes.
Aye, do you
Lyndon
think?
Dykes, 100%.
What about Lyndon Dykes or Rocky Bushiri?
Rocky Rocky Bashiri.
I think Lyndon Dykes could probably handle himself a little bit, you know.
He absolutely could, but based on what some of the Hibs players have said about Rocky Bashiri, aye, he's definitely not one to mess with. Big cuddly bear, but would absolutely tear you to pieces.
Yeah.
A bit like Darren McGregor and Yogi Hughes when they needed to.
Aye.
I'm comparing
They ken that they're on the
personalities here, not footballing ability before anyone.
I went to, when I was at HTC the other week, a few weeks back, sorry, Rocky was there, and like he walked past me, and I was like, fucking hell, man. I was like, you are massive. I was like, Jesus Christ. As he was going past, I was like, sorry.
You know what's mad with that though? We look at players like Rocky, for example, and think, fucking, he's an absolute unit, a boy. But see, when we played Aston Villa, Watkins looked the exact same. But then when you watch Watkins in the Premier League, you're like, he looks a bit, you know, like there's not much about him. And then obviously they play us, and it's like, fucking hell, do you know what I mean? So
I think see, for me, I mean, and we're kind of getting off topic a little bit, but it's it's not the way, it's not how big they look sometimes, it's the way that they use their body. John McGinn being a prime example, Kieran Bowie again being a really good example. Like if you compare Kieran Bowie and Kukarevich,
yeah,
like probably both similar in terms of physique and stature, height, weight, build, but Kieran Bowie uses his body so much better than Big Mick did for Hibs.
John McGinn is also an absolute unit now as well. And by the way, if no one's watched it already,
yeah, but he wasn't when he was at Hibs, and that's probably the part of his game that he's not had to change, is his physicality. He's got an awful lot better at it. Don't get me wrong, but he's not had to adapt the way that he plays football. He's not had to adapt the way that he makes runs and picks passes and stuff. He just gets his arse out. We were seeing that when he was fucking 20-year-old at Easter Road, and he was, built like the side of a fiver, built like Willie Collum.
Well, after everyone has finished watching this episode on YouTube, they need to go and watch the John McGinn documentary on the Aston Villa YouTube.
Oh, mate, how good that is.
Tremendous watch.
Really disappointed with the lack of Hibs content. I know it's an Aston Villa documentary.
I'm not really surprised. He's done and achieved a hell of a lot at Aston Villa in his short time there, so I'm not really surprised at the amount of Villa. You know what kind of gets me? I just feel like so proud of him. I don't know him. I just feel so proud of him when people are talking about him like that, and like you said, how much he's done. But he has been there he's been there for nearly 10 years now. Yeah. Well, he's done, what is it, 300 appearances? Over 300 appearances.
Yeah, so it'll be like, he signed in 2018?
18-19.
Yeah, the start of the 18-19 season, so he's only a couple of years off a testimonial at Aston Villa, and he's played in the UEFA Cup, he's played in the Conference League against Hibs, Champions League, scored against PSG, who went on to win it. Played against Celtic in the Champions League, I think he played that night. He's done an awful lot, and the fact that he's now, barring any injury, touch wood, now going to a World Cup, he'll have thought, holy shit, I think I've made it here. Just get him a Premier League trophy or an FA Cup or something, just to round it off at Villa. I think
I'd rather he won the World Cup.
Aye, but he can win the FA Cup as well.
That's a good send-off before he goes and wins the World Cup, to be fair, winning the FA Cup.
Yeah. Thing is, we've got a chance this year.
Or the Europa. That's what they're in, eh?
Yeah. We do have a chance of winning the World Cup.
We have a fan.
More of a chance than we did in 2022.
Definitely more of a chance. This is the best chance we've had in 28 years to win the World Cup.
Oh, man. Right. Will we wrap it up there?
Yes, please.
Absolute delight to talk to you again, Shaun, for the last hour or so. If you've got this far, thank you so much for listening. It always means so much to us. If you don't already, give us a follow on our socials. We're at the Hibs Ramble on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, etc., etc. Whatever you're listening to us, if you're listening to us on Apple, if you could give us a review, it'd be really good. It helps us. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we will catch you after the Falkirk game. Oh, that's a nice pair of cleats, that, you know. Nice pair of cleats. For audio only, Shaun has just held up a pair of retro T90s. Oh, and a pair of retro Predators. They look about size 4.
Yeah, I found them. They're my.
David, was that for when you played for Musselburgh Windsors?
Wee barbers. Wee barbers.
Right. Goodbye. I need to get rid of you. I want to edit this
See
pod
ya.
and go to my fucking bed. Bye!
Let's get ready to rumble.